the situation in Nigeria is incredibly complex and evolving, and different in different parts of the country as well. But Nigeria is really important for its own stability, but also for the work that they're doing for regional stability and security for 3 days, actually. And I was really grateful to General Magano and his team for coming over there. It was a good dialogue. It builds on work that we started together a few years ago, but basically it was looking at how we can work together and how the UK can support Nigeria on key issues like tackling criminal groups, tackling terrorist groups, but also building stronger community policing and addressing human rights.
So there is there an effective, practical, implementable security and defense partnership in place beyond this sort of inaugural dialogue?
Absolutely. And as the General said when he was here, the situation in Nigeria is incredibly complex and evolving, and different in different parts of the country as well. But Nigeria is really important for its own stability, but also for the work that they're doing for regional stability and security. The UK has a strategy across Africa to work with countries to form partnerships to help to create freer, safer, greener, more prosperous countries. And we see Nigeria as an absolutely key partner in that. We have really strong people-to-people ties between our countries and relationships that go back for many, many years of history. And so we held this, inaugural security and defence dialogue. It was a meeting that went on for 3 days, actually. And I was really grateful to General Magano and his team for coming over there. It was a good dialogue. It builds on work that we started together a few years ago, but basically it was looking at how we can work together and how the UK can support Nigeria on key issues like tackling criminal groups, tackling terrorist groups, but also building stronger community policing and addressing human rights.
So there is there an effective, practical, implementable security and defense partnership in place beyond this sort of inaugural dialogue?
Absolutely. And as the General said when he was here, insecurity in Nigeria, in that part of Africa, also impacts on the UK's own security. So that's why we want to work with Nigeria as a trusted friend, as a partner. And officials are already working together on issues like how you address those terrorist threats, how we can bring the lessons that we've learned on things like community policing to improve security across Nigeria.
And in terms of the scope and scale of that dialogue partnership, the focus apparently is on counter-terrorism, so Boko Haram, ISWAP, etc., organized crime, which presumably is things like kidnappings, banditry, and also military cooperation. How will this help to address these problems, particularly in the Northeast? And how is this defense cooperation actually going to work?
So, yes, but it's also about policing, okay? Because what we know in the UK and in Nigeria is that to keep civilians safe, you also need to have effective, accountable, transparent community policing. And that's part of the work that we'll be doing through sending advisors, bringing shared experiences to help the Nigerian police forces adapt so that they will be able to respond to incidents in a more timely, a more effective manner, and help them roll out that community policing, especially in areas that have seen conflict.
Of course, Nigeria's security problems, as I'm sure you know, are quite deep, and therefore root and branch reforms that are far-reaching are needed. This agreement to deploy policing advisors from the UK in Nigeria, what kind of advice will they actually give? I mean, when are they arriving? How long are they going to be in Nigeria? Do we have details?
So officials are already working on implementation of what was agreed last week, and we know that there are multiple complex issues going on here, but where we think we can help work together is the experience that we've had looking at managing the risks of extremist groups, how you can reduce that, how you can improve the policing response so that supporting civilians moves from being a military solution into being a community-led and community policing-led solution. And these are the areas where we believe that the Nigerians have identified issues that they would like help with, and where we can then bring in that support and share experiences, because fundamentally this will be not the UK telling the Nigerians how to do things, it's the Nigerians looking at the issues that they have and where they think we work together, bringing out our expertise. That's what this agreement last week has promised, that the UK will share our expertise and will work together as the partnership to try and deliver that better security for the people of Nigeria.
But of course, part of the reason Nigeria is calling on the UK is because it itself has failed to do the things that it needs to do. I mean, in the course of the meetings you had, both sides agreed on the importance of police reform in Nigeria. You mentioned briefly the role that you see the UK playing. Can you sort of expand on that with particular focus on reforming the police force?
So a lot of this is, as I said, how about do you better respond to community issues? How do you better respond in post-conflict areas so that where there has been conflict, the police can help de-escalate that through a community-driven response. And I know that the different threats in are different in different parts of Nigeria, and therefore the issues that are faced are different. But one of the other things that was discussed at the dialogue is very much the regional issues as well. And Nigeria as a country that's respected democracy, really wanting to continue to play a very strong part regionally. So this cooperation that we will have will be not only looking at what's happening in Nigeria, but also Nigeria's role in greater regional stability too.
Right. And not to throw a sort of wobbler at you there, but is this assistance from the UK going to be paid for by Nigeria? Is it a deal that's going to see Nigeria paying money to Britain?
It's not, we were discussing how we can work together in partnership. This is not,
so it's not a deal as such.
It's not a financial deal as such.
Right. And I'm sure you've heard of the End SARS protests in Nigeria against police brutality. A judicial panel was set up in Lagos to look into it, and it submitted a report, I think last November. You sent out a tweet saying that transparency and accountability are vital and that you will be following developments closely. What's your assessment of the white paper that was issued by the Lagos state government on that report? Did it meet your expectations?
So obviously the white paper raised lots of different questions, and it raised questions about the role of the federal police and about the military, and those are questions that the federal government needs to look at and address. A key point that we believe in the UK is the importance of transparency and accountability, and that it is really important that civilians have the right to transparency, to understand when things have gone wrong, what's got wrong, and that people can be held to account if there have been situations where the police or other forces have not acted in a way, or that people believe they've not acted in a way that they should have done. But that transparency and accountability is a key part of what we would like to see in that response, and indeed transparency transparency and accountability was a lot of what I discussed with the General and his team when they were over here last week.
And are you seeing that in the context of the NSAS protests?
We're watching
and the
really
report?
closely, and I've been talking indeed to my team in Nigeria just today who are watching this very, very closely and will want to keep arguing for that transparency and accountability, because it is so important that people feel they have that in order to be able to trust the police, the military, etc.
And now that the UK and Nigeria have had this inaugural dialogue, do you see the possibility of more meetings to deepen that security and defence partnership?
Well,
what happens next?
And indeed, officials are already meeting and they're working on implementation. There'll be another high-level meeting this time next year so that we can keep the process rolling on. But I also think that this is part of a much wider partnership. Back at what I said in the beginning, our view is that we want countries to be freer, safer, more prosperous, greener and ready to adapt to climate change. We have a particular focus in the UK at looking at women and girls in our foreign policy, empowering and educating women and girls as part of that. So we do an awful lot in Nigeria, for example, on international development and helping girls get to school and supporting education. And we also have deep trade ties. And when I'm visiting Nigeria, which I will be doing in the coming weeks, I'll be looking at those parts of our relationship, because it's not just the security, but it's also the trade partnership. It's that education partnership, it's the development partnership, which together we believe makes countries stronger, and that makes UK stronger as well.
Of course, just listening to you there's a broad church of things to do and things that you've enumerated there. I mean, how will these things that have been agreed be monitored? I mean, how are you going to measure progress? Is there likely to be a joint panel or something to that effect set up to sort of
So I think the most important thing is that we get on with the implementation. We get on and make sure that we in the UK are listening to what the Nigerians are saying they want advice on. We've offered advice, we've offered training, and let's make sure that we are listening and responding to what the Nigerians are saying, Nigerian officials and officers are saying that they need, so that then we can work on and deliver it. But yes, the implementation is going through, and as I said, there'll be a follow-up meeting at a high level again this time next year, so that we can make sure that it's delivering. The issues that Nigeria face are very, very complicated. I understand that. I grew up in Northern Ireland. I understand the challenges that you can get when you have terrorist organisations in parts of your country, and that they can be different in different parts of the country. So I don't think we should be making promises overnight that situations will be resolved overnight. This is a journey, but we stand there to support the Nigerians on bringing what expertise we have from the UK to help support on that journey.
And just looking beyond defence and security, another crucial area for both sides is, of course, trade. Britain and Nigeria began talks last year on what was described as an ambitious trade deal. Where do things stand now with that? It's a sort of post-Brexit trade deal, isn't it?
Well, we absolutely want to be the partner of choice for Nigerian businesses when they're looking for trade, when they're looking for investment. And actually, there's really strong trade links between the UK and Nigeria already. It was over £3 billion worth of trade between us exporting to Nigeria and Nigeria exporting into the UK as well. So we want to continue building that. We're open to all options on how to build trade, how to build investment. That'll be part of the discussions that I'll have when, for example, I'll be meeting business leaders and different organisations when I'm down in Nigeria in the next couple of weeks.
Is it because Trump said what he said 2 weeks ago, that's why they are coming to apply service, or is it that they are setting Nigeria up for complete division?
My beloved brother, I must tell you the gospel truth. Glory be to God. I remember humble self, that Biafran evangelist, and I will continue to speak. I told you time without number that the extinction of the Biafrans is inevitable. You see, one Nigeria, I told you people before now that it's a scam. It was a scam. They only use it to scam Nigeria. The different entities that never agreed, and you join them together without their concept, without their mutual agreement, and you expect it to work. How will it work? Now, the same UK that does this are the same people now abandoning their people from coming to Nigeria. Seeing Nigeria as a terrorist a nation, that there is no peace in Nigeria. Nigeria, there is no peace, no security, no this, no that. And even they even went ahead and made mention of the places. They say if you go to North, they are killing people, Borno and Sokoto, Katsina, whatever, Plateau, Benue. You understand? They are killing people. If you go to Niger Delta, you will see in Niger Delta, you see the militants, you know, kidnapping in the west here. You see in Ekiti, other places, and what is it called? That's Ondo. God bless you. And you come to East, to be precise, those ones they are secessionists. Those ones, they are, that is very, very secessionist set of people, you know. And these are the people that join Nigeria, this country. People, now them join us together, call us one Nigeria. The same people now are loose guarding. The same people now are not showing the support. The same people now are not doing the needful. Ever since all these things has been going on, have you ever seen the British said anything regarding to this insecurity? Despite all the oil they are collecting from this country, free of charge, without any service deposit. Do you know how much they collect from our seaport? Do you know that the headquarters of Nigerian seaport is not in Nigeria? Yet these people, they saw what is going on in Nigeria, yet they refuse to speak. They refuse to act. They refuse to do anything regard to this. And Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, being their own citizen, as a result of being an Igbo man, Igbophobia, as a result of him being a Christian, they denied him. British denied him. And look at what they are saying now. Are you not saying the British are criminals? Because they have seen Donald Trump coming out to speak. They themselves now are like they want to play along being a saint. Whereas they never be a saint. They have never for one day be a saint. Neither have they played a role of being a saint. But now they are trying to separate themselves to be on the side of Donald Trump now. But these are the people that is the major cause of the problem that is going on in this country. They are the chief pioneer of this insecurity in Nigeria. They are the chief pioneer of this unsaved country called Nigeria. They are the chief pioneer of sleeping with your two eyes open. Restless and reckless nation. They are the chief pioneer of all these things that we are going through in this country. And yet they kept quiet. And now look at their actions. The same set of people open their mouth condemning the same country that is feeding their generation. Or don't you know that Nigeria is the one feeding UK? The economy of UK, 65% of it comes from Nigeria. Yes, it comes from Nigeria. From our seaport, from the oil, from every other resources. Our gold that is from the Borno state, that is coming from Borno, our thing that is coming from Katsina, all these places. They are the ones soaking, they are the one enjoying, they are the one embracing. In fact, with their two legs, two hands open, we're coming in. Every day, go to the sea, you will see their vessels coming to suck oil on daily basis. Oil that worth trillions of dollars. trillions of dollars. And they are bragging. Now look at them. Look at them. This is the country that you expect somebody like me to trust, to believe, to agree with what they are saying. It doesn't make sense to me. They are not worthy of such trust from me, because I am highly disappointed the way they are coming and what they have said so far.
But with finally, but the British now coming out to say that what they should not come to Nigeria. Just like I've said, is this not an hypocritical statement from those like what you said? Are they trying to play? Some people say
Panky.
Trying to deceive Nigeria, because when you are telling your citizens not to come, but you are still taking from our winners' resources. Is that not being really hypocritical?
Yes, they are hypocrites. Yes, British they are hypocrites. Hanky panky. Take a look at what is going on in Ukraine. They were the people that engineer Zelensky to go into war with Russia. They were the one championing, giving him hope and giving him faith, giving him everything. Now, where are they? Where are the British? In Ukraine, where are they? Go and see how Russia is pounding Ukraine when a woman is pounding fufu inside mortar. That is how Russia is pounding Ukraine. Where are these Europeans that pushed him into that mess? The same way British, they are hypocrites. Don't you see what they are saying now? You understand? So we shouldn't continue believing or trusting these hypocritical nations, such like Britain. They are betrayers. They never meant well for you. They are evil. Number one in the world, they are evil.
But do you think that they are the one holding Biafra and Namdekanu? Do you think the Britain? Because said from the body longer of Bola Ahmed Tinubu that left to him, he should have released Namdekanu. But it seems there are higher forces that are still keeping Namdekanu there and Biafra, because they know the moment Namdekanu comes out, everything might be let loose.
If you say I'm not thinking, that is what it is. You understand? I'm not thinking anything. That is what it is. Because that's one of the reasons why they themselves could not withstand Mazen Namdekanu in UK. Because Mazen Namdekanu lived in UK. The same Mazen Namdekanu, the radio Biafra they talk about, that Mazen Namdekanu used to do broadcasts. Who gave him the permission to run the radio Biafra? Was it not UK? Who gave him the license to run it? Was it not UK? And where was Mazen Namdekanu on that radio Biafra? Was he here in Nigeria? No, it was in UK that everything took place. You understand? So they don't give information. Look at what Mazi said on the 7th of this month. He said UK people ask you to jail me, and you cannot jail me with your repaired law. They themselves, they know the implication, what it means for them to fight me and to jail me. They know what it means. They know the implication. So the same way when Kanu was in UK, Nigeria couldn't carry out any atom of crime. They allowed Kanu to enter Kenya. They use Kenya, you understand, to kidnap Kanu. Come to Nigeria. Now they want to now use Nigeria to put Nigeria into more trouble, the same way they put Kenya. So they want to trap Nigeria the more, to use Nigeria to trespass against the human rights of Mazen Namdekanu, and at the same time to make Nigeria look more foolishly and more stupid in the eyes of the world. They are the ones that really want to finish Nigeria. Let me tell you, the major thing was to kill Kanu, but God said no. The British, the major plan was to kill Kanu, but they don't want Kanu to die in their hand. So that's why you see them playing this game. But the God, the God of Master Nnamdi Kanu, the God of Biafra say no. That is why they are looking for a means. Go here, go there. Judges have tried that now this one pass us. They are now looking for somebody that they can just use to name him. Omotosho say because of the promise they have promised him. So he wants to, but on the 20th, Omotosho, that thing you think you can do it, let us see. Do it, let me see whether you will use a law that does not exist to judge a law and arrest my case.
Take of a renewed onslaught by tireless military against Boko Haram and their ISWAP allies in recent times, the insurgents have apparently changed their strategy. They have started targeting Christians and Christian villages for a specific reason, which is to trigger a religious war and throw the nation into chaos. Apparently, they have realized how emotive and divisive religion can be when exploited by unscrupulous persons. Lest I am misunderstood, let me repeat. The insurgents who delude themselves as Muslims, whereas they are nothing more than bloodthirsty, rapacious killers who subscribe to no religion, have recently started targeting Christians with a view to sowing the seed of confusion and discord between the two great religions. This is not to say that they have stopped attacking Muslims, but they seem to now have a deliberate policy of attacking Christians. The attack on a Christian village, Korangulume, near Chibok, the killing of the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, the late Lawan Andimi, in Michigan local government in Adamawa State, the killing of Roville Dacia Dalep, a student who was also a member of the Church of Christ in Nations, cousin, and the killing of 11 Christians on Christmas Eve fit into this new strategy.